want to thank you all for coming. I know there's a lot of questions. Our main focus for the charter school is project-based learning, and we are very fortunate to have Ginger Lumen, who is with SDAC, which is our service center, educational service center, she's nationally known. In fact, where was Kathy and this other lady from?
Oh, they're in Chicago and California.
She just did a hangout, and I mean, you have people from all over the country to talk about project-based learning. So Ginger is very well known, and she's our expert. I've also worked with her out at Yoder. She's come out and helped train us, so she knows what she's doing. And so I'll let her explain a little more what she's going to do. I believe she's going to kind of take you through an example of what project-based learning would be like with the students. And after that, we'll have some time for questions and answers. And
I hope everybody else on the team's ready for questions and answers, because I figure by the time we're good. Okay, anyway, thank you very much. And I'm glad you all are here. I've got to tell you, I'm watching you all come in and sit down, and I'm thinking to myself, I like this group. I don't know if you all go to the same church or anything like that. I'm just saying this because I noticed that everybody came in to this, except for the front row, which I totally get. People not because I might spit. But those of you who came in and filtered and left the outside edges, that's the kind of church I want to go to, where I don't want to, because I'm late, I don't want to, pardon me, in the center, so I like this community already. This is a good thing. Anyway, thanks, Ginny. My name is Ginger Lumen, and I'm going to tell you some stories today. And because project-based learning is what we're going to talk about today, when I say we, I do mean we. This is not me just standing up here talking to you, because project-based learning is about learning by doing. And I can stand here and talk to you about it, or we can experience it, because it's learning by doing. So, if you thought you were going to come here to a boring talk, it might be boring, but you're going to be doing stuff too, okay? I don't think it's going to be. If it is, you'll kick me or walk out, right? And it's okay, if people start walking out, I'll just assume you had an appointment and it wasn't how bad I was. Thanks, anyway. So, projects for life practice. I do want to point, can everybody see that all right? I know it's kind of dark with that. I want to point out something for you here. The picture behind it. I purposefully picked that picture. Purposefully for a reason. I guess that makes sense. That's actually a toy plane at an airport with a big plane. The reason we put that picture together, we being, my partner is Kevin Honeycutt, who is also a speaker at SDAC and works with project-based learning. He's been kind of my Yoda in this process. But think about the toys that we had as little kids when we were little kids. Think about the toys that we gave our kids. Think about the toys way, way, way back in time that the Greeks had, that the Indians had, that the early Paleolithic hunter-gatherer people had. Think about the toys that we give our children when they're growing up. What are those toys mostly? A lot of those toys are little make-believe of real things. Like, you give your boy the lawnmower, little toy lawnmower. Your girl, we have the little cook station, right? No, we do those things, yes? Yes? And the reason why we do that is we're getting our kids to understand how to use real-life machinery, tools. And so when we're using these types of tools with kids, when we're using tools, toys, getting them ready for the real world, that's what I want our schools to be like. Where they're using things that are what's happening in the real world. Let's go there. I know some of y'all are looking at me like, what is she talking about? We'll get there. We'll get there. But I want to start by telling you a couple of stories, if that's okay. Again, by the way, my background is I'm a history teacher, so I like to talk in stories. And so if you'll indulge me a little bit. I've got two sisters I want to tell you about right now. This is a sister, we're going to call her Abby, because that's her name. Abby, this is actually an older picture. That's a picture of her as a little girl. That's her as a senior in high school. It's very 80s flavor, so you can see that it's a little older, the picture. Abby was exactly who we as teachers want to have in our classrooms. Parents would love to have Abby as a student because Abby was the girl who paid attention in class, did her work, did it to the absolute best of her ability, made 100% almost all the time. But if she made it the 98%, she would go up to the teacher and say, what did I do wrong? She wouldn't say, oh, how come you were wrong? Why didn't you? She wasn't her ego. What do I need to do better? She was exactly what we want our kids to be. She was participating in sports, she was participating in music classes, very well. She took all the toughest classes that her little rural high school offered, all the honors possible classes. When she finished high school, she was a valedictorian, top of her class. She got a full ride scholarship to the University of Missouri in Columbia, biochemical engineering. That's her major, right? Full ride scholarship. When I say full, how many of you guys would love to have your kids with full ride scholarship? Absolutely. Okay, so she had her housing paid for, her books, her tuition, her food, extra play money. She didn't have to have a job. Her job was school. She'd gotten the grades, she'd taken the classes, she was in participating, she volunteered, she got to the school, full ride, first semester. By the end of the first year, she had lost almost every scholarship that she had earned, with the exception of one that she couldn't lose because she graduated from a Missouri high school. By the end of her second year, the college had invited her to leave. The next couple of years, she spent going from college to college, not getting a degree, racking up more debt, and eventually never getting a degree. She was a bright girl who did exactly what we in school as teachers and parents want our kids to do and be. And when she got out in the real world, she fell flat on her face. Do we know anybody who's done that before in our lives? What happened? What happened with her? What went wrong? She did what we wanted her to do. Let's do some armchair psychology. Turn to somebody next to you. By the way, y'all know each other? Because if you don't, you're going to get to know each other today. Okay? Just a little armchair psychology, just a couple of minutes. What do you think might have gone wrong with her when she got to school? Go ahead and talk to each other. So what do you think? What do you think? Armchair psychology, it's okay, by the way. She knows I tell this story, so you're not hurting her feelings. She's a real person. She knows. What do you think might have gone wrong with her?
Too much sex.
Did you say that? She said too much relations with the other boys. Is that what you just said? Boys? That in part is true. That is in part true. Drugs, you said? Drugs? I don't think that was too much of an issue, but a little bit. There was something that was, she was a good model student. She still should have been able to get to her classes and do well in her classes. Academically is what things went wrong. Why?
No correlation between what she learned in the classroom and real life. It didn't carry across.
Like what? What do we need in real life that she might have not gotten in the classroom? I'm not sure if you're right, I'm sure you're wrong. Tell me more.
In a small school, our kids are relatively sheltered, and they go to a huge environment, and some of them become lost or confused.
I'm liking it so far. I see some nods around here. How do we shelter them in our small schools? By the way, her school, 150 people in the entire high school. Small school, right? Okay, so how do we shelter these kids? What do we mean shelter? Because the word protect can also happen too, which is not a bad thing. So what is it that we might have done with her? By the way, thank you for answering. You can keep answering if you want. If anybody else wants to throw in an answer, again, you're not going to hurt her feelings.
Time management.
That was a real issue for her. In high school, you go from class to class. They tell you this is the deadline. This is what needs to be turned in. And when you get to a big college or the real world, you're on your own, baby. You better be able to handle your time. She was a straight-A student, though.
She had too much instruction and not enough of her own thinking to get out, accomplish what she needed to accomplish without instruction.
I think you're definitely on the right track, that she was given, the teachers told her what to, when to, how to. And when she got in the real world, what people weren't telling her what to, when to, how to,
And
she didn't know what to.
Her upbringing was the same factor. Her parents, you know.
Absolutely. Now, starting to fail in classes, we gotta make ourselves feel better. And that's where the guys and the drinking came in. So that's true, that's legitimate, but this happened first. She started realizing that she was supposedly a smart kid, who wasn't smart. What am I gonna do? This happens in every school, every single school. It kills me. Let's talk about the other sister. This sister, we're gonna call her, we'll call her Ginger, because that's, yes, it's me. Okay, it's me. And yes, Abby's my real sister on the other side. And I apologize. I'm going to talk in third person a little bit here about this other person because it doesn't really feel like it's me, and I'll switch back and forth, but y'all know that's me, okay? So Ginger was a whole different type of student. Ginger was the girl who knew that if she came to class, raised her hand, smiled, laughed at the teacher's jokes, she learned very quickly that she could do whatever she wanted to, whenever she wanted to. I learned that in 3rd grade. The meanest teacher in the whole school, and you guys, I don't know if you know her, this might be close enough. I went to grade school in Sylvia. There's a lady out there by the name of Jenny Hobbs. I don't know if you know her at all. Love her. I think she's passed by now. But the meanest teacher in the whole school caught me sliding down the school banister. The stairway banister? Okay, this is in the 70s. This is, you know, when people still cared about their kids. She caught me. When you get caught by the meanest teacher in the school doing something wrong, what happens to you? What happens?
You go to the office in a battle.
There you go. I'd be sent to the principal for a spanking. Absolutely. My dad told me if I get 2 swats at school, I'm getting 4 when I get home. I'm not letting Dad spank me because he's not nice, right? So, Mrs. Hobbs catches me. She says, Ginger, and I hopped off that banister and maybe leaked a little, and and she said, Ginger, you know better than that. And she walked on. I didn't go to the principal, nothing, and I just thought, whew, dodged that bullet and went on to the bathroom, didn't think about it again. Fast forward a few years, I'm in junior high. I'm going to classes, and I'm supposed to have your homework done, right? Open up the notebook, I'm flipping through the pages, teacher said, time to turn in your homework. I'm flipping through, I'm looking, and all of a sudden my best acting Oscar winner skills come out, and I'm like, oh, it was just here. I don't know where it is. Knowing full well I had never done that homework. What did the teacher tell me? Remember, I'm a good kid. I smile. I participate in class. I don't have my homework. What does the teacher tell me? Bring it in tomorrow. Bring it in. And I might not. Doesn't matter because I'm going to ace that test later anyway. Oh. What am I learning at school? It's okay. Armchair psychology. Each
Slide through.
I'm learning how to make it work, right?
Yeah.
How to, is that a good thing?
Sure.
No, oh, what? We're okay with teaching kids how to lie? Because that's what I learned how to do really well. I learned how to manipulate the system. Do you think I was learning much? Not doing my homework?
You weren't learning academics, but you were certainly learning some people skills. Not necessarily how good.
What's the purpose of school? I'd like to say both, right? Academics pretty important in school, right? The reason I tell this story is not to brag and not to say woohoo. Because I graduated, we moved to Missouri, I moved back to Hutch, and we moved all over the place. Mostly because what was happening in my family, I'll just say, we stayed one step ahead of the consequences of my father's actions. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? Mm-hmm. You ever had a kid in your classroom, in your school, next to your kid's locker? Kid's there one day, next day their locker's still full, but the kid's not there and you never see him again? That was it. Okay, so learning at home, the rules don't matter. Learning at school, rules don't apply to me. But for the grace of God, I'm not in jail. Because that's a path that happens a lot to bright kids. And the teachers, one class, the last semester of my senior year, the teacher was running a simulation class. I couldn't fake it. There was no homework. You came to class and you did the work because she's giving you a scenario and you got to work it out with the other people. I couldn't fake it. And guess what? First quarter, it's a semester-long class. I'm an honor student. Not straight A. Who needs straight A's? I'm getting my scholarship, right? Right? Who needs straight A's? Isn't that not good? Shouldn't I work for the top? It didn't matter to me. It was about the grades to get by. It wasn't about the learning. Her class, semester-long class, first quarter, I got a D. That's an issue. I can't get a D. D means I don't get a scholarship because my parents had told me they don't believe in college. My parents don't believe in college. And so if I'm going to go, I got to make good grades. So my mindset from an early age was I have to make good grades. Not I have to learn. I have to make good grades. At whatever cost. Okay. I tell this story because that's an educational malpractice, what happened to me. So I became a teacher. Because that's, I got to take the easy way out. Teachers, that's an easy job, right? Yeah, must be educators right here. Yeah, it's the easy way out. And I got through college, getting the grades that I needed to get out. Right, I became a teacher. Woohoo! We're stacking our schools full of amazing people. I'm the exception, I'll tell you truthfully. When I got there, though, I got to look at my classroom, look at my kids' eyes, and I got to see me out there. And I said, I'm not having that. Y'all are sliding by, and I'm not having it. And I started kicking those kids in the butt. Not literally. Always. And got into gifted education because I found out there were a lot of bright kids who were sliding by. See, the reason why I tell you this story is because when we talk about struggling students who struggle in school, we oftentimes think of the kid who can't read. We think of the kid who has trouble with math. We think of the kid whose parent doesn't ever come to parent-teacher conferences, that's the struggling kid. My parents came to every single parent-teacher conference. But do you think Abby and I struggled in school? Not if you looked at our grade cards. We were great students. We were perfect reproductions of what we should be. What happened to Abby? And what happened to me? But for the grace of God, I'm out of jail. That is what fuels my passion for project-based learning. Because you cannot hide in a project-based learning class. Does it help struggling students learn how to read? Yes. Does it help struggling students who don't care about school because of whatever reasons, things going on in their life? Yes. And we're going to experience that today. You guys with me on that? I'm getting nervous? Okay, a couple had a little bit of laugh. We'll get to that in a second. Eventually, I had talked enough in my district about this thing called differentiated instruction, where not all kids were treated the same. I was doing this the first few years of my teaching career. I found out that if teachers, they could put different lessons together to help both the strugglers and the strugglers to really get them all engaged. And I started talking to people about this and running trainings in my district, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, why don't you start a new school? Because we think you're smart, courageous enough to do that. And it's going to be project-based learning and one-to-one laptop. And I said, what grades? They said 5 through 8. Grades 5 through 8. Now listen, I'm a secondary person, which means I like 7th grade through 18-year-olds, right? Because those people, they don't hug you as much and they don't snot on you. Bless elementary teachers, love you so much. This was grades 5 through 8, and I thought, 5th graders? You still, all right, I'll try it out. And first day was horrible. Parents come rushing into the room. How's it going, Ginger? How's it? And I just burst out into tears. I had never had a worse day of teaching in my life than that day, because the kids were looking at me. And I had 2 days of training with project-based learning. Go start your school, Ginger. I'm teaching all grades 5 through 8, all subjects, by myself, all kids together. Talk about one-room schoolhouse? That's what I had. In a building that was over 100 years old. Okay, but it was going over, it was real close to it. That first day was horrible. And the parents were surrounding, they were so nice, because they had believed, I think maybe this could be good for my kids. Kind of like where you all are at right now. Second day was better. Third day was better. By the end of the first quarter, I knew I'd never go back. By the end of the first year, I thought, this was great. I didn't know. Second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, better. We started with 16 kids our first year, and me. Second year, we had 5 kids go on to the high school, because they were 8th graders, and went on to the high school. And by the way, did I say 5 through 8th grade? Well, let me tell you about my kids. I had kids in 7th grade who had learned that if they acted foolish, they got sat out in the hallway for a couple of years. Acting foolish, get out in the hallway. They did that for a couple of years. So I had 7th graders reading about the 4th grade level. Likewise, I had 8th graders who were brilliant and should have been at the 10th grade level. So I really had 4th through 10th grade all together. Baptism by fire. First year we had 16 kids, 5 went to the high school. Parents and I didn't realize, we thought it was like the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. They didn't. We forgot that we needed to talk to other parents, so the second year we had 11 kids. Third year, we had 25 kids, I hired another staff member. Fourth year, we had 54 kids, I hired 2 more staff members. Fifth year, we had 70 kids, I hired 2 more staff members. It grew. We could have jumped to that 70 after the second year. It's not the first year because we forgot to talk to people. We could have jumped to 70 right away, but I wanted to keep it small, because keeping it small from the start, it didn't get out of control. I was building it, I was learning it, the parents and I were learning it together as we were going. There was nobody else in the United States doing what we were doing back then in 2006. Nobody was. If they were, I would have seen them, because we were out there in the world. Since then, a lot of schools are doing this. A lot of schools are. And we have reached out and we've connected and we've grown. And so then a school who's starting now, you're not that educational detached retina. You're not hanging out there in the world by yourselves. There are people who can guide your teachers, for you, your kids, to move you forward. So let's go on. PBL asked us to take something very normal that we know, school, and to look at it in a really different sort of way. Can I tell you I'm a history teacher? These are all Central Kansas pictures, by the way. I don't know, is that building still alive? That's it's in Newton. It's what's the college up there? Bethel.
Yeah, Bethel, yeah.
Is it still up there? It's the Bethel Administrative Building? I gotta go see that. Anyway, that's a school bus from Alden. Yeah. Today, I'm going to ask us to be the learners that we want our children to be. So picture for a second. How would you want your kids to be in the classroom? What are 2 things you want your kids to do? And I know some of y'all don't have kids in school right now. I recognize that. But we're a community and we have kids in school, right? Even if your own children are no longer in school. So, what do we want our kids to be doing in school? Talk to each other for a second. Come up with 2 things. How do you want them to be behaving in school? Talk to each other real quick. Yes. I'm going to ask you a ton of questions all at once. You just pick one and answer it. It's good. There's a right wrong. Well, there you go. Okay, go ahead then. Okay, I want 5 answers. I want 5 answers. I don't care what 5 answers are. By the way, there are many right answers. There are such things as wrong answers, but there are many right answers. You have a much better chance of having a right answer than a wrong answer, unless, I don't know, you just decide to be funny. Okay, so what do you want your kids to be doing while they're in school? Name one. Holler it.
Excited.
You want them to be excited. What else?
Learn involved.
Get involved. Learn. Learn what?
Let's learn how to read.
Good. Learn how to read. What else?
Be engaged.
Engaged, excited. Did I say 5? I can't count. Keep talking.
Respectful.
Respectful. What does that mean? Because respectful to one person is different for another. What does that mean?
Kind of
I guess be
understand.
tolerant and look at the other one as almost equal, I guess. I'm not sure.
Oh,
I want them to be
Okay.
able to leave that school and go into their work world and understand that I can't walk up and slap somebody, or that I mean, I might not like you, but I better keep quiet about it. It's not wise to walk up and spit in somebody's face or whatever.
no, that's never acceptable, right? Yeah, that's just something we just don't have.
That might be
If that's
part of
respectful,
respect.
sure.
That
But I
might
think
be
respectful
part of
goes deeper than that too, right? To see it from other people's points of view, to try to, to try to find solutions rather than just always, react. I think that's a big chunk of it, right? Does respectful mean obey?
Oh, yes.
Does it?
Should.
It should. Obey whom? Everyone. Everyone obeys everyone? Woo! I want us to talk about these things. Because respectful may not necessarily always mean obey. Obey means do what I tell you to do. That's what happened to Abby. Abby did exactly what she was told to do. When did she learn to think on her own?
After she got to the bottom.
Can I tell you, she's 43 years old. I don't ever, just now got a degree, April of last year, that she can't do anything with because she got good grades through that degree too. I want us, this as part of this conversation, is I want us to think about what these things mean. I don't have, okay, I've got answers. But my answers are not, I'm not running this school. Right? I'm not coming in here with this is how it's going to be. This is a community conversation, and that's what I want our kids to be able to have, those types of respectful conversations, because if we just put the obey on, you didn't say obey, I said obey, right? If we have them just obey, when do they get to learn to make their own decisions and recover from failure? How many of us have ever failed in our lives? Right. Absolutely. Abby never failed in school. Abby never failed because she paid attention to what she was supposed to do and did it. She obeyed. I just want to talk about that a little bit. I may be wrong. I don't think I am, but I might be for your community. So let's talk about that. Okay, so I hear a lot of things. Engaged, respectful. I like the definition of conversation. To be reading, to be getting excited, involved. I said involved, I'm going to say involved again. Okay, because we're getting ready to do. Are you ready? Okay. This is my guiding question that we are going to answer. Under the topic of community memory, who are we and why is it important to remember who we are? That's our guiding question for today. You're going to be answering that question. Okay? Here's that guiding question again. Your challenge right now is to create a presentation that answers that question. I'm seeing a couple of panicked looks. Good. Good. That's what I want to see. It's okay. Right now, some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, what is she talking about? How am I gonna? What does she want? How does she? That's what I want you to be wondering. Okay? So, if you were my students and had been in my PBL classroom, I could say this to you and be like, ready? Go. But y'all aren't ready for that. Because you're not used to working in that sort of environment. You are in the real world. You get a question and you, but this feels like a classroom still, so you're waiting for me to give you instructions, aren't you? Yes? Is this your challenge? Oh, she's going to give us what to do. You're going to give you what to do. But you're going to ask me the right questions first. Because if you just stand up right now and go out there and start working on your presentation, you're going to make huge mistakes. And I want you to do that.
This is our challenge.
This is your challenge. Absolutely. So in order to answer that question and to complete that challenge, what do you need to know? Ask me the questions, and I'll get right now, I'm going to be real nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to be real, you ask one question at a time, because I'll get overwhelmed. Ask me the questions that you need to know, and I'm expecting that you may not ask me all the questions you need to know, and I'm a really nice gal. I might give you the answers that you haven't asked the questions to yet, but I might not, because I'm not that nice. You thought I was. What questions do you need to know? By the way, all y'all are working on this, including y'all hiding back there behind the books. You're getting involved as well. Over here trying, let me go to the bathroom, I don't want to be here. Yeah, she's involved too. What do you need to know?
What type of presentation?
Great. What type of presentation? Normally, when I run this type of activity, I say that you would need to make a video. That being said, we're not really, I usually talk to teachers who are sitting with laptops in front of them, or iPads. I knew that that was not necessarily what we would have now. So I would like you to do a live presentation. Or, if you happen to have a smartphone that makes video, make a video. Okay? But if you don't, then you're going to make a live presentation. Right? Good. What else? Because when I say go, I'm going to be pretty much off limits.
So are we working in teams?
Smart question, give it to me. Okay, are we going to be working in teams is what she asked. Yes, there's absolutely no way that you can do this by yourself in the amount of time I'm going to give you. So, your teams should be, ready? Groups of 3 or 4. 2 means that if you have a disagreement, you're at loggerheads. I don't want to. If you have to, then come get permission and tell me why 2 is all you can do. Okay? But I would like 3, 4. Any more than 4, somebody's going to be over there not working. Not having it. Not having it. 3 is optimal. 4 is acceptable. 2 is not. We're good? Okay. Are you eyeballing already? Who are you going to partner with? Okay. What else? What other questions? How many of you guys are thinking, why did I even come today? It's okay. It's about the process, okay? This is low stakes. This is low stakes, okay? No, I'm not going to put any of these out on the internet unless you make the video and put it on the internet. Never mind that camera there. Or that camera back there.
You should see my kids the first time we did this.
Yeah, it's all right. What other questions? You got a lot of questions you should be asking me right now.
How long does it have to be?
Who said that? Thank you. That's the perennial student question. How long's it got to be? 30 seconds to 2 minutes. More than 30 seconds, less than 2 minutes. Ha! Feel more doable now? Does it feel a lot more doable? Because I don't want to be bored by somebody up here droning on and on, right? 30 seconds, say what you're going to say in 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Next. Oh, you got a lot of questions you should be asking me.
What we?
What?
Who's the we?
Ooh, what's your name?
Kelly?
You are my new favorite participant, Kelly. Absolutely. I want us to define that. Because who are we? Your group will define. Is it we as in me, myself, my family? Is it we as in Mount Hope Charter School? Is it we as in community of Mount Hope? Is it we as in Central Kansas? Is it we as in the United States? You define what community is. Your choice. Yes. What else? That's the root of my question. Okay, because I'm nice and because I'm watching the clock, which is I'm not, but you are. Here's some things you might want to know. Create a presentation that tells us who we are and why it's important to remember. Your audience. Oh, you know who you're doing the presentation for. You're not doing the presentation for us, although you're doing it live here. The presentation is really going to be to kindergarten to 4th grade, that age grade, you know what I'm talking about. I'm a speaker, I swear. Or 5th to 8th grade, 5th to 8th grade students. Okay? So you're looking at little ones, or you're looking at like middle school. Okay? Because that's our group. That's who you're going to be talking to. It's going to be between 30 and 120 seconds. And at this point, this is where I would tell my students, choose your strategy, make a plan, and get to work. But you need to think about what's the message. Remember, it's talking about who we are. What's your story? I'm a historian. I want you to bring out your own story into this if you can. I started with a story. What is the story of us, of your community? How do you incorporate that? Because your audience is kindergarten through 4th grade or 5th through 8th grade. If you tell a boring wonk, 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 they don't care. I want something interesting to them. That's your audience. Make it engaging and interesting to them. Who's in your group is going to be doing what? Because if everybody tries to do everything, you're not going to have enough time. Somebody's going to have to think about who's acting what out. Somebody might have to think about script writing. Those sorts of things, right? What presentation format are you going to use? Is it a skit? Is it a jokester? Is it, it doesn't have to be something serious. It can be funny if you want to go that route, or it can be really serious, tear-jerking, however you want to. Create a plan, maximize your time, because I won't give you, nobody asked how much time you had to do this. What time is it right now? Not looking at that clock.
7:35.
7:35. You have 25 minutes to have this done. 25 minutes to be ready to present. You can do it. You can do it. Okay? Some people are starting to get nervous. And what are you going to need to know that you don't currently know, and how are you going to find that out? Look around this room. Do you think we have some people who have expertise in this room? You all know each other, don't you, pretty much? Right? No, you don't know each other? This is a great way to get to know each other. Yay, I'm so glad. And because I'm really nice, we'll call this a rubric. These are your guidelines that you should be thinking about. I want to make sure in your presentation that you give me a good, clear definition of what community is. I need to know what community is from you. 2, I need to have it in a story form. And in story form, I need to have a beginning, rising action, a climax, the falling action, and ending, denouement in fancy French terms, right? But it's the ending, right? And it better be engaging and interesting for your audience. That's how you're being assessed. That's how I'm going to know. See, if you need to know what project-based learning is, there's no better way to know what it is than to do it. It's learning by doing. You guys with me on this? You nervous? That's okay. That's
I
okay.
just got sick, I need to be excused.
Here again, I think you're going to find everybody, every single audience says, oh, okay, we'll do it. Respectful, thank you. You're nodding there the whole time. Tables back here, I've got markers, I've got chart paper around here if you need to plan something. There's Post-it notes, there's all sorts of stuff if you need to plan or write stuff down. You don't have to act it out, you can do a video. By the way, do you all have your groups yet? No? That's probably the first thing you want to do. Okay? At this point, straight up, 8 o'clock is when we're finished. Yes? By the way, we're not finished. We're going to come back and then talk about what it was you learned. Okay? Okay? Because just doing this doesn't mean you learned anything. It's the reflection afterward that matters. You guys with me? Okay? Are we game? All right, I appreciate it. Let's do it.